Hey folks, this is Abel James, and thanks so much for tuning in to Fat Burning Man, where we help you look, feel, and perform at your best. Here's a little feel-good story to help kick things off this week. A lot of you write in or message me on social media and say something like, we love hearing from all these celebrities and experts and authors of books and that sort of thing, but we also really want to hear from real people and listeners to the show. So I have a special show for you here this week along those lines, because you probably hear me start off most of the podcast with someone writing in and I'm sharing their story of transformation or success in one way or another. And I've talked about Kat and Brent a few times. We got to know them in the Fat Burning Tribe after they joined. But basically, long story short, a little more than a year ago, when that TV show that I was on ABC, My Diet is Better Than Yours, was airing on TV, they saw it and felt a little bit of inspiration as a couple. And then Kat went on to shed 40 pounds. Brent is down 47. Their camping style wedding, which is totally wild approved, by the way, was featured in Rock and Roll Bride, and they shared the pictures with us. Now, here's the craziest part. Inspired by Kurt a little bit, Kat shed 40 pounds, Brent lost 47 without focusing on exercise. They did it just by cleaning up their diets and their lifestyles. And so you don't have to become a gym rat or a cardio bunny or anything like that. Let's violate some of those stereotypes, clean up our plates, and see what we can all accomplish. So be sure to check out fatburningman.com if you want to see some of the rock and roll pictures of the camping wedding, which is also, a low budget way of doing it. So a lot of times on this show, we're not only talking about ways to be healthier, but also a little bit more free and less tied down by debt and financial stresses and that sort of thing. And you'll find that those start to work hand in hand the more that your health comes along. One point that I'd like to mention before we get started here is that the journey towards health and to health is so much more fun when you have someone else to share it with. So who better to share it with than your significant other, your boo, or someone in your family? I should know, because Allison and I have been together for about 7 years now, and she's been hustling behind the scenes to make this show possible, to put together our cooking classes and so many other things behind the scenes. She's running a lot of the tribe and our community, and obviously she's much more gifted in the kitchen than I am at this point. So we like to complement each other and also grow together as a couple as we learn a little bit more about health as time goes on, and as we meet more and more interesting people over the years. So if you ever feel like you're going it alone, or you're the only one in your group of friends or family who's trying to eat right or get off your prescription meds or just take your health into your own hands, if you feel like that, we've built our programs in an online community called The Tribe just for you. So if you feel like you need a little bit of extra help or support or accountability partners, or you just want to meet me and Allison in our virtual community online from anywhere in the world, be sure to check out the Fat Burning Tribe at fatburningtribe.com. My wife Allison and I put the tribe together as a place where you can get some of our best videos and programs, information and recipes and meal plans, which are seasonal, all in one place. Right now, you can join us for a massive discount and get wild meal plans at fatburningtribe.com. You can go from any device, including the one you're listening on right now, fatburningtribe.com. And don't forget, if you just want to dip your toes into it, you can get a free wild diet quick start guide and 7 days of meal plans for joining my newsletter at fatburningman.com. The new bonus downloads will make you giggle. Just sign up with your best email at fatburningman.com. All right, on to this show with Kat and Brent. You're about to learn why lifestyle changes stick when you do it together, how to switch from Eggo waffles and soda to fresh eggs and salad, what to say to the naysayers, and incredible non-scale victories that come with going wild. Let's go hang out with the newlyweds. All right, I am thrilled to be here with Kat and Brent Pence, two adorable newlyweds who went wild, who were recently featured on Rock and Roll Bride. We've been chatting in the Fat Burning Tribe Facebook group for a few months now, I guess coming up in a year, but we're now meeting for the very first time, e-meeting in virtual life for the first time. And I'm so happy that you guys are here. How's it going?
Great.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So one of the pieces of feedback that I get from people who write in about listening to the podcast or reading the blog, they're just like, yeah, it's great when you talk to people who are, you know, NFL pros or these luminaries of health and Harvard MDs and all this stuff. But like, we want to hear from real people. And number one, like everyone's a real person, even the celebrities, some more real than others, very, very real in some cases. But talking to people who are new to this and don't have any agenda, right? It's just like you're real people who weren't in the best of health and had been, you know, kind of lost like I was at the beginning, and then eventually started doing the right things, and now you're just in such a great place. And those wedding pictures, oh my gosh, following you in the drive has been so much fun because I can tell that you guys ham it up. It's great.
Yeah, you have to keep it fun.
Well, I can't take hardly any credit for it, except for the camping portion of it. Pretty much the design, the layout, and everything was all my wife. So.
Fantastic. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and the rebellious nature of it in a bit. But I'd like to start with just tell people where you were about a year ago and what's happened since.
So we run our own business. We burn the candle at both ends. We're just totally slammed all the time. So we were eating fast food. We were not cooking at all. Actually didn't know how to cook. And we weren't in a good place. I was over 200 pounds. Brent was getting up there.
I think what was we started telling ourselves, like, this is okay. It's okay to be, you know,
we're Americans.
We're getting ready to get married.
It's the norm.
You know,
yeah.
People put on a couple pounds. That's not a big deal. And
right.
This
You're already locked in.
Yeah, exactly. This whole idea of like, well, we're fat and happy. It's not a big deal. And it wasn't even. For us, I don't think it was more of like we started realizing is the energy portion of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no energy at all.
And as the business stuff started picking up and we're doing more and more of that, it's less and less worrying about ourselves and more like how do we keep this thing going and start realizing we're not taking care of us. One as a couple, but us is like how we feel.
Yeah.
And being more positive. I want to feel positive about myself and about each other. So that's kind of what I think we start after a year ago was like, how we got to do this is just, it's too much.
Something has to change.
Yeah. And then how'd you get hooked up with the wild diet and all that?
Like a lot of people, we watched the show.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. And we were sitting there eating Domino's pizza and had big sodas. And we're sitting there and I remember the moment I'm watching this and I'm just like,
right. It's like, thanks for supporting ABC sponsors. And then I come on and I'm just like, by the way, fast a lot more and don't eat anything you see advertised on television.
So I'm watching the show and I Amazoned immediately and bought a book. And Brent's like, oh, yeah, whatever. And so I read the book. I'm like, okay, dude, you have to read this. And so I got him the book on tape or audiobook because I'm old.
And I'm always in the car, so it's much easier for me to listen.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
To read. So.
And he comes into the office a couple days later. He's like, dude, this is awesome.
I can't believe half the stuff we've been eating this whole time. And so that, I think too, and watching on the show, we saw that the people that were more successful, and not just your plan, but all the plans, was when the significant other, the best friend, the partner, was joining in. The people that weren't successful, the partner's like, well, she needs to lose weight. I feel fine. I don't care what it's her. That's her deal. That's what she wants to do, or what he wants to do. And I really honed in on the fact that like, man, if she wants to do this, we need to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't just be one person. You both have to push each other. I think bringing up a point of like, famous people or athletes have a trainer or person pushing them.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily. Yeah, it's their job.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what helped me the most is when she's like, hey, we need to, this is the real deal. We need to do this.
It's insane. I mean, it's really hard, especially the hardest part for me is watching him lose weight faster.
Yeah. That's pretty common too, by the way.
Yeah, that's really tricky. But it really pushed me to try even harder and fast a little bit longer and, eat a little bit less and everything else when he's just like dropping the weight.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
But I think the partnership portion of it too, I think if you don't have it's like working out by yourself. If you don't have a workout partner or someone to go do this with you or walking alone, doing all those things, everything's better with somebody else.
Absolutely.
With someone, and it could be your best friend, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be your wife or husband or wife, but I think it was very helpful. I'm really lucky in that respect that we push each other to that end. So.
Yeah.
But tell me about before you listened to the audiobook, you're like, I don't know. She like just found this book thing. You guys, I'm sure, have bought plenty of diet books or systems or infomercial gadgets, whatever. So like, tell me about the suspicion that you came to the table with.
Well, I think part of the problem that you hear all the time, I don't know, it's more of the organic stuff, or you have to do this, or there's only one way you can do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was my suspicion. Is like, great, so I have to change everything. I have to change everything because she doesn't want to, be like this anymore. We don't want to do this anymore.
And what was your favorite breakfast?
And so growing up, I'm an Eggo waffle guy. I love Eggo waffles with peanut butter and syrup on them. And so for me, for a long time, and I'm also the numbers guy in the office. And so when she's like, and we're gonna empty the whole house out and we just need to get rid of it, I'm like, that food's still good. We can't. Let's just do this. And then you start doing this whole reasoning thing, and I start thinking back. I'm like, there's no reason to be. That was my skeptic of like, oh, we're gonna do this for a couple months. We'll just cut back on because there's no way.
It costs us a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money, and it doesn't really make sense.
So we ended up boxing all of the bad food up in our house, which was the majority of the food that we had.
Yeah.
And we left it on the kitchen table for like, I'd say the first 2 weeks. It sat there. And it was just sitting there kind of mocking us, going, okay, well, whenever you're ready.
Right.
And two, the hardest part is, I think, going through, the skeptical part is, as you're thinking about getting into this plan, we watched a fair amount of TV, I'd say, and there's all these ads of like, all these other plans, all these other systems, or man, if, half hour a day, man, if you only did this. And so I'm like, well, why are we, subscribing to one thing versus these other ones? Or what if there's this magic?
And, oh my God, we have to cook?
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I think, a huge deal. But, there in life, I think there's no magic pill. Yeah. There is no magic. You have to pick and choose from a little bit of everything. And I think that's kind of been our secret, is just trying to pick and choose and find the right system. And the skeptical stuff, there's always going to be someone in your life going, yeah, you're not enjoying this, or you don't get to do that anymore. And it's like, well,
bread? You can't have bread? Oh, no.
Pasta?
No.
Yeah. So I think, there's a lot, and so we're lucky we have a smaller business and there's fewer people in our core group of every day that we see. And so we were fortunate enough that everyone else in our group, and one of our main project managers, Chad, he was willing to subscribe to this too. And so that was kind of a fun thing. He's been getting into it.
And he listens to your podcast every day.
Oh, right on. That's great.
He was like, I'm not going to talk to him.
Well, tell him I said hi.
Yeah, you got
it. So as you started, how quickly did you see results? It sounds like Brent pretty quick, but Kat, you were a little bit slower with that.
I'd say within the first week, Brent had lost
5 pounds.
5 pounds. I hadn't really lost much, and then within 2 weeks, though, I was down like, I think 7 pounds.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it didn't take very long to start seeing results. And then Brent lost 47 pounds.
47 pounds total, yeah. I was more excited about it. The funny thing is, as we started losing the weight, I keep thinking back to, I love before and after pictures, no matter what it is, even whether it's health stuff or a remodel or whatever. It's so cool to be like, what? That was that? And now, and so that was what I was kind of most excited about, is like, this before and after picture of like, we used to look like that, man, now I look awesome.
Right.
So, and feel better, and that's the whole thing.
So 6 months in at the wedding, I was down 40 pounds. I think the final time I was down to 160.
Yeah.
And Brent was down 47 pounds, which was just incredible. And
Except for the biggest mistake, waited too long to get my suit refit, because realizing that you don't realize you were that. 47 pounds doesn't seem like a lot,
right?
But man, when I tried to put on the suit I was planning on wearing, I looked like it was just.
He looked like a little kid trying on his dad's clothes.
It was
hilarious.
It was crazy because you don't really think, because you see yourself every day in the mirror.
Every day, it doesn't feel like it's changing. Yeah.
And so when you get to the 6 month mark, it was just like, wow, I have. Really, here and just all over, you feel it. And I think that was a big thing.
Yeah.
It was
an emergency run down to the tailor and
see what they could change on your suit, had to get fit, which was kind of like,
the day before we left for the wedding.
Yeah, and it was, man, this sucks. But at the same time, it's like in your face, everybody else. Like I get a new suit. Totally. I dropped 47 pounds. Yeah, I mean that was really, really cool.
You know, that reminds me of the opposite thing that happened to me when I was in my early 20s and I lost everything in an apartment fire. One of my friends was getting married after that, like a few months after that, but I literally didn't have any pants. Like I didn't have any clothes. And that's kind of when my health was in the pits too. Super stressed, you know, like I thought I was eating right. I wasn't. So gained weight so fast actually that like the pants that were ordered, the groom's mother was nice enough to send me, I think, a letter and just said, I'd be happy to set you up with the attire that everyone else is wearing. So she happily bought me pants. They were the wrong size by the time I got there to the wedding. So for the whole wedding, you know, and I was probably, you know, I'm usually around like 30, 31 waist or something like that. I'm just used to it. That's who you are. But then you get older and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. I just buy like 34, 35, 36 now. It's just kind of what it is. And when I got those pants and I tried to put them on, I'm like, I don't even have pants right now. And I'm going to have to wear these ones with like that thing where the zipper is kind of up as high as it can go. And then you leave the top unbuttoned. So you try to have the belt just kind of obscure the whole mess under there. And then like maybe tuck it in to rig this system so it doesn't all explode at some point. But it's little moments like that sneak up on you where you don't notice those little changes that happen every day in a negative direction or in a positive direction. So let's talk a little bit more about that, because people around you usually do notice. They're not always kind about it. Sometimes they're great about it. But like, how did people around you react when they started seeing you transform literally in front of their eyes?
So it was mostly good. With Brent, his weight loss was so rapid that I had people pulling me aside going, is he okay?
Right. Yes. Is this a Walter White thing or...
Is he sick? Man, he's
really skinny. And I
gained a lot of weight in my face too. I think that's where I people really saw it here, and I'm very good at hiding because I'm always wearing a jacket or we're on job sites, so we have vests on. So I can hide it pretty easily. But people were pretty, I think, shocked, excited for us, but shocked, and also kind of like, so tell me more about, can what's this now? What's the plan? And
right.
Yeah, no, like, so you must be working out like, every day then. We don't work out really at all. So, we've just been eating healthy, changed the way we eat, and all these things, and they're just amazed. And it's a lot of, so do you have a pen? I can write this down. What's the name? What do we do?
I think some people too were upset. Some people were upset about it because they think, some people feel that they can eat whatever they want as long as they're, they think they're burning as many calories, or I work out every day, or I go for a jog every day so I can eat whatever I feel like.
Right.
Well, and the old adage of, well, it will catch up to you. It's always going to catch up to you. And I think for us, it might have just caught us up. We caught up sooner. Yeah. And it was one of those, it was bending down to tie my shoe, and I did I'm trying to get past my stomach, and I'm like, geez, it's probably time. I mean, it's time.
No, but mostly people were really supportive.
It was positive. Yeah.
Cool.
Which is good.
But our thing was, and maybe it was in the book, or maybe I was just telling myself it was, we made a deal that we weren't going to brag. We didn't brag to anybody. Mm-hmm. It was all about us.
Never preached.
We weren't preaching about it to anybody. It's like, you have to do this, or there's only one way. And when we were out with friends and we were eating, it was never like, well, we don't eat that anymore. So
right.
Because I can't stand. That's one thing that's really frustrating when you're around people that are either they're losing weight or they're trying something new. It's like, we get it, you're vegetarian, cool. Like, you don't need to shove it in everyone's face. And that was I think our biggest goal. Not.
Yeah. If we went out to eat with someone, I'd order a salad or a steak or a big thing of vegetables or something else, and they're like, oh, well, is this okay to eat, or what's on your diet? I'm like, well, it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. I can't think in that mentality of restricting myself. I'm just eating things that make me feel good.
Yeah.
One thing too, the first time it happened, her parents took us to a pizza place that her dad had to go to, and it's like 2 weeks in, and I'm like, man. And it's like, wait a minute, most pizza places have a salad bar.
Yeah.
And that's not that big a deal. And or you buy the pizza that has the most meat on it, and then you just pick all the meat off of it and just have that. And
there you go.
So it's not, and you don't have to, and it's not to offend anybody. And,
yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people like, oh, we didn't want to invite you because, or, well, I know you're on this diet, you're trying to lose weight, so
right.
It's like it's not. I think that was the biggest thing. We didn't want to stop with people's face. There was no point. It was about us.
Yeah.
It was not about anybody else. We were doing it for ourselves.
Right.
I think that's what people need to remember. Like, do it for yourself. Don't do it because someone said something to you or was pushing an agenda. It's not an agenda. There's no secret to that. You have to want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You do. And so you said people, when they asked you the exercise piece specifically, that you don't really do that much exercise, was surprising to them. So
shocking, yeah.
Having done this for a while, like, how do you respond to that? What do you say?
I think for me, it's almost that's the sales pitch.
Yeah.
Of like, well, tell me what. I'm like, well, first of all, do you like working out? Well, no. I go, well, are you a great cook? I am. Okay, well, here's the deal. I'm a terrible cook. Yeah. And this is how we're going to learn to cook. And here's a great recipe line, and here's all the different things you can do. And I think that's what we told people is, don't worry about the workout portion of it. You'll figure that portion out. It's cutting things. I think it's the cutting things out or getting rid of things that you're really used to.
Like you say, fueling your body with the right fuel instead of just running on sugar and then just crashing.
Right.
I mean, the energy level is so much easier to sustain when you're actually feeding on fat. So,
but it's the fun. We have the guys that work for us are big soda drinkers. Mm-hmm. They come in with the rock stars all the time, and I've never been a big soda guy, but it was one of those things where when it's available, so there's a pizza place in town, and they have the combo, and it comes with a soda. You don't have a choice. It comes with that, and you can fill it with water, but it's always like, man, it's very Coke here. I gotta have that, and I think it was those small things, cutting that out and explaining to people, if you can work on it, just take the first month and cut one thing out that you're always used to having. Try that before even starting the eating clean. Try just getting rid of one thing and seeing what that's like. And that's kind of how I explain it to people.
Without that one thing, you think that you're, living off
that you have to have.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's been, I think, the biggest way to explain this to people. Don't think about eating clean. Think about getting rid of one item. And maybe that item's alcohol. For me, I think when I started losing the most weight is when I decided to take 30 days off from drinking. Yeah. And you realize I don't think that I drink that much. But it's really easy to say I had one cocktail, and that cocktail is actually like a double because you're pouring it for yourself. Yeah. And I think that was when we both said, okay, we're getting rid of that one thing. I'm not going to drink. And that's a great point. Yeah, I think that was kind of like getting rid of one thing. That's kind of would be my advice to anybody. It doesn't even have to be eating clean. Just get rid of one thing in your life. And see what it's like.
Find out what's actually bad for you that you're eating right now or drinking right now, and just like knock one of them off at a time.
Yeah.
That's easy enough to do.
If you want it back, you can have it. I mean, then make that your one thing that you keep, but get rid of something else. Yeah. I mean, life is give and take for sure.
It is. And you've got a little quota, and you can have some fun with it. I certainly do. I think that's part of it. And I hope that that's obvious to people, because I've always been like, if you guys knew me in college, then you wouldn't be surprised by who I grew up into, but you might be surprised by like some of the liberties I would give myself with the feasting and things like that. While still being fit, though, especially being young and like someone who ran a lot. But it's not something that you can do forever. That's for sure. And a lot of people try to, for some reason, especially if you're kind of locked into the traditional way of thinking about food, then you're just like getting away with something when you eat fast food, right? It's like this guilty pleasure. That's exactly what it is, right?
Tell anyone about it. And the rappers in the back seat are like, oh, I was supposed to clean up the car. It was one time.
Right. Yeah. But it's like one little thing that you win, right? If you do that. And I used to feel like that, especially like as a kid or growing up or what have you. And then you get your own money and you can buy your own food. And that's kind of like exercising your own little rebellion in the wrong way. But ultimately, what I hope to teach people when you read the book or listen to the audiobook or just the podcast is that the trick is on you, really. If you're buying
processed food or fast food or anything like that, you're buying the marketing, and then you're buying basically like a shell of a food that's basically the most addictive substances and chemicals that they know to exist, which they attach to the most pernicious marketing they can, which is literally designed by some of the best brain scientists in the world. And then if you go and you buy that, then the trick is on you. And I think it takes that is something that's difficult to stomach, especially when you're new to this, right? And I think you guys have probably been around some people who are maybe tried to hop on the wagon, but it didn't work, and they wound up just turning straight back into Taco Bell. What do you think for people who might be steering towards the fast food place, because you do get those tendencies? We're outmatched here for sure. What advice do you have for them to stick with this?
I would say just give yourself some grace and to listen, like I said, listen to your body. And, there's always, especially when you're turning into Taco Bell and you're going, I really shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Just go.
How will I feel 2 hours from now? Ask yourself.
How is this going to make me feel? Not just, my stomach hurts, or, I have indigestion, all those things. They're your whole body, your mind is going to be unfocused, all these things.
Yeah.
Think about it. And then also the fact that you're going to be craving it again in a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
So just really think about it before, be mindful of where you're at and why are you going there? Are you really hungry, or are you just thirsty?
Yeah. I think to add to that too is, life is full of failures. So if it doesn't work for you for the first time, keep trying it again. And we're fortunate that we work for ourselves. And so we failed the last 10 years. I failed constantly, constantly. Yeah. But it's recognizing those failures and going, okay, this didn't work. I need to figure out another part of it. Or what parts of this eating clean can I pick apart and use in my life? This part isn't working for me, but it's typically the people that say, well, I failed, I tried it, it is what it is, I'm moving back to this thing. And it's you can't think of a failure as like, that's it, that you gave it the one shot. You have as many shots as you want. It's up to you. Because I think that's what, we've got a lot of people that work for or that work for us that, well, I failed, I can't do this. I'm always going to be a laborer. I can't be a superintendent. I can't run the job. I'm going to be the guy just pushing the broom. It's like, dude, you screwed up one time. Let's go back. Let's look at why you screwed up.
Yeah.
Figure out how to fix it and move on. And I think a lot of people get mired down in this whole, I can't do it. I can't do it. And they can't get, and you can't always be a positive person too. I think, people can be overly positive. My mom is way overly positive.
Which is awesome.
But she's in her office sometimes, and it's like, you don't have to be like, okay, I can say it's raining outside and I can complain about it, okay? You don't
it's constant.
Yeah, it's constant. So.
Yeah. One of the things too is that, people really get into this mindset of, I need to start eating clean on the first of the month, or I need to, it's on Monday morning, I'm going to start being good. Well, no, on a Thursday afternoon at 2:00, if you're not feeling good, start eating well. Don't wait until that milestone of, the first of the month or the first of the week or anything. Just right now, just go and eat something healthy. Go grab some carrots even.
Yeah.
The other thing too for us that kept us, especially in the beginning, from eating really bad, just pulling into the fast food joint, was keeping a snack bag. Keeping snacks in the car always, having jerky, having nuts, having just something, an apple even, just anything in the car with us.
Our crab bag, as we call it, because it keeps me getting crabby and mad at each other from just
the crab bag.
I love something. That. Yeah, exactly. Because it was awesome. Well, it was one of those things where he
gets hangry.
Well, it was one of those things where I go, well, we're not just gonna juice and do this thing. If I want to eat something, because and then you start. We take time apart and we'll she'll be reading and I'll go do something else or project I'm working on, and I start thinking to myself like, well, if we're going to be helpful to each other, I need to stop snacking, or I need to stop doing all these things, or find healthy snacks, or find something that, because if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. It's listening to your body. It just is what it is. But it's finding a healthy snack instead of just and we used to have just junk in that, because I wanted it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And I felt like I'd kind of reached that point where it's like, well, whatever, I'm going to have it. And I work hard during the day so I can have whatever I want at nighttime.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it's that mentality that it's so natural and so easy to prey upon for marketers of all kinds, right? And I think we can all agree at this point, if you just kind of go for the status quo, you just kind of follow the breadcrumbs that you're given, then you're going to just wind up wading in the cesspool that is so obviously around us. So you kind of need to be intentional with how you set up your day, your habits, your time, whatever, and cultivate the right stuff. Because if you don't, then going with the flow is just leading to disaster, obviously. I thought it's weird because I've been doing this for like 6 years now, longer if you count the time that I was completely not popular at all and only my aunt read my blog. But you would think that it would be getting a ton better, and in some ways it is, but it's more like the people who are getting better are getting better, and it's growing a little bit. But the people who are getting worse so fast that it's astonishing, and it's really it's hard to know what to do with that, because you guys know that there's a great divide between the two different lifestyles, the energy levels, as you guys said. It's like, it's easy to say when you have the energy to do it, come on, just make the right decision, right? Like, go to sleep, eat your vegetables, whatever. And you guys are now feeling kind of young and vibrant again. But just skipping back to how you felt before, it's hard to get the courage, to get the motivation, and to get the energy that you don't have to put to something that will maybe bring you more energy later, right? That's a tough thing to do.
Well, and I think too, the marketing portion of it is they're marketing to back to the, you earned it. You've earned eating this stuff. You've earned having all this crap, and you've had,
Yeah, and especially, I love all of the marketing lately for the fast food restaurants and all of the junk food and everything. It's all of these super healthy, fit people having just a blast and fun, all those things, and drink a Coke. It's going to make you feel like this.
Or when you're done working out, you can have the beer that's only point whatever calories. It's like, come on. I think the biggest thing is everyone needs to work. I think you're the only person that can make yourself happy. So think about that first. And are you happy where you're at now? No. Well, then figure out how to make yourself happy, and starting eating right and not working out is the way. That's kind of the answer, I think, because
start eating right and not working out. I think that's the tweet right there.
This is the first 6 months portion of it. Yeah.
Advice from a couple who recently lost 80 plus pounds together.
Yeah. You want to lose 50 pounds, eat right, don't work out.
Yeah. Sit on your couch and watch TV.
But it's such a great point, and that's why I try to. I understand that I have to meet people where they are, and I also understood that the 50 miles a week that I was running was completely overkill and ridiculous when I realized how to eat right. So if you only have X amount of energy to devote to improving yourself, and Lord knows that's where we all are. It's a tiny little sliver. Then put it all in the place that works the best, and don't burn yourself out doing all of these exercises that, they could help you a little bit, but you're not going to get, the results that we're talking about here that you get from eating right, cutting out the bad stuff. And then that snowballs. So it becomes easier to make the right decision. It becomes more automatic. It becomes more of a habit. And then all of a sudden you get used to a whole different level of energy and living. So what are some of the other things that happen with you guys now that you feel, like you said, you feel younger, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're both in our 30s.
Yeah.
And it's just, we've run this business for 10 years. And so and through the recession, and it hit our community really hard.
Yeah.
And so, especially for a contractor, we started in 2007. So we were a baby.
That's rough. Yeah.
And
it aged us pretty quick. I felt it aged us pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, I was during the whole getting started in this, I was losing hair.
Yeah.
From stress and eating poorly, and I'd gone to my doctor. I'm like, man, it's getting really thin, and he's like, well, you're getting older, and that's just that's what happens, and it's can be changed. But
doctors love to say that.
And the hard part was I'm doing research, and it's like well, you know, a lot of it's genetic, and it's like, well, my dad still has his hair, my mom has her hair, my great grandparents had their hair, and they passed away. And I'm, this doesn't seem right. And I started getting, my hair started getting thick again as I started eating healthier, and which is, I mean, that sounds like that's crazy, but
it happens.
It happens. And there's little things like that where it's just like, the big thing for me is, sadly, I had acting my whole life, and it's just facts of life.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I have so much less, my skin has cleared up.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is eating healthy, but two, I think it's because I feel better about myself. I'm not thinking about, my stress is less, and so I'm feeling this, and I think it's helped a ton. And so it makes me feel more positive, so I'm even more, it's like, man, this is awesome. And you don't want to dwell on it, because I noticed too, we're like, man, if we just done this like 3 years ago, if we just, you can't live in the past, you can't live in the regrets. It's like, I think that, like, healthier skin.
Well, my migraines, when
that was a really,
I was having like a migraine a week, and then
when we first got together, it was
bad.
It was
I couldn't
really
work.
Yeah, they're no joke.
Anything. Yeah, and so I started eating healthy, and within the first month, they had diminished by 50%.
Jeez.
And then I'd say, I mean, I have maybe one migraine a quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's very, very rare, and it has to be all of the triggers.
And they hardly last. And this now they only last.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
They used to be 3 days long. And
wow, 3 days long?
Yeah, it was horrible. In a
debilitating.
row, covers over my head, the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, that's what really sold me. After a few months, I went, wow, when was the last time I actually had a full blown attack? And it was months before, and it was incredible to me. And I can't go back now.
Yeah.
Then the other portion of it is
too much pain.
Sadly, I snore, which keeps her up, which again probably causes the migraine portion.
Yeah.
So in losing the weight, but also in eating healthy kind of combination, now I snore less too, or hardly at all, which is like, wait a minute, there's all these benefits, there's all these things. It's more than just looking good and feeling good. I mean, it affects way more of your life. And it's a natural thing too. It's not I think that's what was hearing my dad's like, yeah, I'm on this, and yeah, I'm on that, I'm taking this, and I'm like, Dad, he goes, yeah, we have all our stuff's low fat in the house. I got low fat milk, I got low fat bread, I got low fat, and I'm like, you need to really, I know you're a guy kind of doesn't want to change stuff, but did you know that this has caused that, if you take this pill, they don't know what that's going to do. If they take this pill for too long, it's going to do that. And I think that it's helped us out a lot. That too, and I actually look at the back of packaging now. I'm like, hey, can't have that. Okay, can't have that. Which has been, I never used to look at the back of a package.
Yeah.
Or I used to look at like, wow, there's so many calories, but not really.
It doesn't mean much. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but now you're like, wait a second, what is that? Why did they put
wait, everything has soy in it? How is that possible?
Right.
Like soy lecithin, how's that?
Yeah.
We have to have fillers and everything. We got to have fillers and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I think too, a lot of it didn't turn into disappointment.
Yeah.
And me having to go to her and be like, come on, I've been having that forever. I have to get rid of that.
Yeah.
He's like, we're doing it all the way. You can't just, jump head first.
It feels a little bit like growing up, though, isn't it? Doesn't it? It's like, because it's almost, that what you believe is a little too good to be true before, right? Like, oh, I can eat all this stuff. It's all low fat. My house is taken care of, right? I buy the low fat stamped packages, so I'm good. That's a very convenient thing to believe, and it's like, I want to believe that too. It kind of makes sense, but unfortunately, it's so easy to take advantage of things like that. And what we're going to see now that paleo is so popular, now that a lot of other things are so popular like that, is that you're going to see that stamped on a bunch of stuff that it has no business being stamped on. It's ridiculous to even think about that. Like, cavemen eat nutritional protein bars and like what individually wrapped. It falls apart pretty quick. So once you kind of know how to spot it, it becomes easier and easier as time goes on, right? But
absolutely.
How about eating out? You guys, let me ask you this, because you said you weren't really cooks before this,
right?
So, which is super intimidating, right? Because like I recommend that it's part cookbook, right? Like people need to get back in the kitchen. So how did you handle that?
we followed your recipes. That's all I did. I just was like, okay, I'm just going to follow these recipes. I can figure this out. There were a few
it didn't take,
that I didn't do right. But,
yeah, hit and miss. It's part of the fun.
Yeah. But I just made it very simple for myself. I didn't try to be like, okay, I'm going to meal plan for the next month on my own, finding all these recipes online and what I can eat and everything. I tried to do that at the very beginning, and I'm like, no. I started out with just the recipes in the book, mastered those, got really simple, and then moved on to joining the tribe and then getting the meal plans, and so did that. And from there, it really we started branching out a little bit and following, getting some other recipes that were actually within the plan, and finding other blogs and doing things, and it blossomed from there. And now I only know how to cook healthy. I don't know how to cook the other ingredients. I don't even have those in my house, so it makes it much easier that way.
Well, I think that was our one thing that we gave up for the first month was let's cut out eating out. Let's for the first, because probably 4 times a week or more.
Oh, more
five,
than that. Every night for dinner.
Probably.
Yeah. Wow.
It's hard to, it's very, I say it's hard, but I feel that it's hard to cook for 2 people because you're making a huge mess for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes of eating. And then you've got this massive mess to clean up. And so it's hard to get that mindset of, I want to do all these things and mess up all these pans and get the whole kitchen dirty for what? When I can just let somebody else make the mess and there's no stress. I think eliminating that portion of it, I think it's just saying we're eating at home for the first month. We're not going to try and eat out.
Well, saves a lot of money.
Yeah, it saves a ton of money.
Yeah. Would you mind just sharing how much of a savings would you have, over a week or a month?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So for a week, we usually spend between $100 and $150 in groceries.
Okay.
And that's because I make, I do either a roast. I went and bought an Instapot, which is
best invention.
Yeah, they're great. Aren't they great?
So Sunday night, I usually make a Kahlua pork roast or something that we can have for lunches all week.
Beautiful.
On salad.
Yeah, it's really easy to add to anything. That's kind of the cool. That's kind of the best part.
But we were probably spending double that a week for eating out for lunches, because the problem is that we work together, and so I'm not a stay-at-home wife. We don't have kids. Those things. I'm just we get up early. We have meetings. We would go grab back in the day we used to go grab McDonald's or Starbucks or both. Yeah. And then we would go out to lunch, and then we'd go out to dinner, and we just that on repeat.
But the other thing too is we were finding ourselves, we were shopping for food to have at home, but it was mainly snack food, and we were eating out. So we were having this, and then throwing food away. So it was like, why are we? This is just a waste.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. But I think eating out out of laziness, because cooking for yourself. We talked a little bit about we learned to cook healthy, so that was kind of, we got lucky in that aspect. We didn't learn to cook the wrong way. But it's the plan or eating clean doesn't have to be expensive. We found an amazing actual butcher shop in town, which is crazy because they don't hardly exist anymore.
Yeah. The first thing was, I said, do you have anything that's grass fed, or where's your meat come from? He goes, everything's grass fed because that's how it's supposed to be.
That's
awesome. The guy was almost upset. He was almost upset about it.
Wow.
Hey, what do you mean?
I don't need to advertise that it is, because it's grass fed beef from our from our local guys. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But one of the things, we spend a lot on food, but it's just because that's kind of that's one of our treats now. It's
now we spoil ourselves with man, you should see the spaghetti squash we picked up this thing.
Isn't it funny how that changes?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy.
It's not nearly as lame as it sounds.
No.
Yeah.
Well, now my big thing is I used to be I was a Jif peanut butter guy. I had Jif peanut butter was my jam. That stuff was so good.
Right.
And now my big thing is we get
Adam's
stuff, and you have to dump it out and mix it and get all the oils mixed and get everything going. But it's all it is, and the ingredients, it just says peanuts and salt. It's just okay. Perfect.
And it's so much better. It's not going to pickle you from the inside out.
and now the funny thing is, you're over at a friend's house and they're, you're having apples and peanut butter or whatever, and they're like, well, I hear, the big thing of Jif, and you're like, what is? Yeah. Now I don't. Now the taste of the other stuff is horrible.
Yeah.
Taking a sip of soda is not. If you have a mixed drink over at a friend's house, it's not. It tastes like syrup.
Right.
And so it's amazing how that's it. I think too that it affected. We're talking about skin and hair and all this stuff. Our palates are way different. So it's It's a huge swing, I think. Yeah. So when you have what you used to have, it's like, ugh.
Yeah. One of my big things was I used to be a candy person. I loved candy. I'd eat Skittles and Butterfinger and all that. And I was watching my nieces the other day, and they wanted some candy, so we had something there, and so I just took a bite of something, and I'm just like, oh my god, how did I eat all this? I had one bite of it, and it's like, it tastes good, kind of, but it's so artificial, and so it's amazing how I never thought that would actually change for me, because
it's like everything we eat now is out of an easy bake oven. It's ridiculous. And it's you get away from that for just a little bit, and you try to even I'll try to smell some of that food sometimes, or like someone will get fried food next to me, and it's like I get a little wave of nausea. I'm like, do people not smell like the rancid, disgusting, like old rotting meat? Like, is that just me?
Oh yeah. And the thing too is, though, we still same thing. It's about us. There's no shaming if they want to have the candy, do the thing. That's on them. But it's too when we found that when you're at our house and you're having our food. If you can start complaining, it's like you can either have what we're having or you can go home, because we're not going to start stocking stuff. We don't keep beer in the house because I don't do. We keep tons of cider in the house, which is killer. So if you come over and you want to drink, you're going to have a cider.
That or high-end alcohol, because I don't like having the nasty cheap stuff. If I'm gonna splurge and have a drink, I want to have it be good wine or good vodka or something that's actually gonna
But we always used to keep beer in the fridge for when people came over and all that stuff. And it's like, it's too much of a temptation for one, because it's like, is that one of these, while I'm here? But you have to really, I think that's the hard thing, is dig in and do it. Her parents have hesitated because her dad refuses to throw food away. We'll do it once this stuff's gone. I'm like, you're not going to change, because you're just going to keep buying the same stuff. You have to just wipe the slate clean and start over and see what it's like. Yeah. If you're not into it, you're not into it.
Yeah.
But it's huge.
Yeah. Well, one thing that can help is just stop buying. Like you said, you don't have to throw all your stuff away, because people live with their kids, with older members of their family, their brothers, their roommates, whatever, and you don't always have full control. And sometimes the temptation is there. But if it's someone else's beer, then it's fine if it's in the fridge. At some point, you don't even look at it anymore.
Right.
Once you kind of don't recognize it as food anymore. You see a Butterfinger or something like that, and you're like, no way. But anyway, I could talk to you guys all day. Do you have any questions for me? Because we should probably let you go in just a minute or so. But any questions for me? Any parting words of advice for those listening out there?
I think keep jumping back on the bandwagon. Don't feel like you're gonna keep failing and keep failing. Life is full of failures, but don't make that the answer to not doing this again.
Make that the little mini vacation, and not
or consider that a cheat. So if you want to take a month off and start it back up, you'll eventually realize, like, man, I felt way better in November than I did in December. And
what was I doing differently?
What was I doing different? It's so weird. What did I cut out?
Yeah,
I think too, and as far as questions go, what's your positive role? What does your wife continually push you?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do you need pushing, or do you do it on your own?
I've learned through my wife specifically that women are so smart and so secretly competitive, and I just love it. They're so often the engine behind why families thrive, I think. And so for me, definitely, us doing it together has been huge. I've always been kind of a health nut, though. I've always wanted to do the smart thing, the right thing, the healthy thing. I've always wanted to make the highest performance choice. That's just the type A piece of me. But what we try to do more than anything else, and this is where we really help each other, is be willing to look really silly, make a lot of mistakes, and just mess up all the time in front of each other and grow together. So we do things like I play a bunch of different instruments, and I'm really bad at some of them, really great at other ones. But like Allison's trying to learn the mandolin and something else. So when she's trying to learn that, I'm usually not like shredding on guitar and like playing saxophone, all this stuff. I'm playing like a really stupid instrument that I don't know how to play that well, or like a drum or something like that, and having fun, just growing together. We're both learning Spanish. We're going out on walks most days, and if not on our own, then usually together. We try to do that as like a thing that we do as a couple. But I think that would be the biggest thing that you could learn from not only you guys but us as well, is grow together. Believe that you guys are in this together, because if you're not and you're looking back and forth, then it can be a troublesome transformation for people, even if you succeed. So like, know that it's a lot of it is mental, a lot of it is emotional. And if you're going to do the right thing day after day, then you have to feel good about it, and you have to know that it's worth it. And so it's all about those tiny little things that you just do on a habitual basis that you don't even notice, that really add up, whether that's eating fast food or if it's eating at home the right thing every day. You don't even pay attention to it anymore. It's automatic, but you feel so much better now. And I'm so proud of you guys.
Well, we really appreciate it. I'm going to start checking the box in the morning and feeling like I'm working out if I'm just doing a small little item. Trying to just build on that, because you can start small and work your way up, just like I think the meal plan, that's kind of what it turns into.
Exactly. Yeah. Start small, do the easy thing first, do the best you can, and just go from there. Like, you don't have to go all organic, you don't have to go all grass-fed. Just like, if you've even perused the book a little bit, or you've listened to me talk for like 2 minutes, you pretty much get what I would say if I were there. You know what the right call is. So if you make that right call most of the time, then your entire life is going to change. And trust me, I have a devil and an angel on each shoulder too. We're all 100% real people, but you guys are a wonderful example of people who get it. And I just have to say this before we go, because I interview a lot of people, a lot of highfalutin types, right? And you guys are fantastic. And
thank you.
I appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks again for listening to Fat Burning Man. Don't forget, before you go, check out fatburningtribe.com. If you have a question for me that you want answered about how to improve your performance, what to eat for dinner, how to drop fat quickly, how to improve your overall health, or anything else, we answer all of your questions there. So quickly, you can get the first month for just $1 for a limited time. Check it out at fatburningtribe.com. All right, I'll see you there. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Fat Burning Man. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, the podcast app, or wherever else you might be listening to or watching this show. Got a second? Please leave me a quick review on iTunes. I always love hearing from you, and if you think someone else might like and benefit from this free show, please take a second to share it with a friend or with a family member. You can get in touch with me on Twitter at FatBurnMan, and Facebook by typing in Abel James or Fat Burning Man. Drop me a line anytime. Did you know that I've recorded over 150 episodes of Fat Burning Man, winning 4 awards in independent media and hitting #1 in more than 8 countries? And here's some more good news. You can download and listen to every single episode for free. All you have to do is type in fatburningman.com. I'll give you a second to type it in, fatburningman.com. And you'll get all the show notes in video and audio versions for all the past episodes of Fat Burning Man. Better yet, enter your best email at fatburningman.com, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll even send you a quick start guide to start burning fat right now and a few of our ridiculously tasty recipes as a special thanks for signing up. Once again, just go to fatburningman.com right now, enter your best email to get your free fat burning download straight to your inbox, and make sure that you never miss a show again. This is Abel James signing off. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great week.